Liebe Zuschauer, ganz herzlich willkommen zu Inside Wall Street vom Parkett der New York Stock Exchange. Ich bin Manuel Koch und bei mir ist Ben Willis of Albert Fried Company. Ben, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure to be here, thanks.
Ben, we saw the markets going up and down and up again. We went over the 15,000 points at the Dow Jones, and we saw some pills coming out of some Fed governors for the markets. Is this what the market would like to hear?
No, is that the market doesn't want to hear it, but they need to hear it. So, I mean, volatility, people have to understand, volatility goes both ways. We had volatile moves to the downside, is usually what we hear it associated with, but the upside is just as volatile. So we had days where we had these moves where the Fed and their talking heads came out and made comments that seemed to soothe the market, and we got these rallies. And then on Friday, we had a total reversion of that picture, and down we go again. But I think the point is the markets have to get used to this volatility as they price in the tapering and then eventually the increase in interest rates. When that happens is what the market's going to try and price in. Nobody really knows.
I heard two interesting things this week.
Then I didn't say that.
Fed Governor Stein mentioned the unemployment rate, and he talked about 7% and not 6.5% anymore. So maybe there is a change of thinking in the Fed gremium. And also I hear the guys here on Wall Street, and they talk about still the month of September that the tapering could come. What do you think about this?
I firmly believe that tapering will happen inside the time limit between July and December. If for no other reason than Ben Bernanke is going to resign the chairmanship, and he has been the architect of this system, and he wants to see it fully implemented before he goes, or at least start the implementation to get an idea. So I have no doubt. So whether it's September, October, November, you will see tapering of some sort. Doesn't mean they won't revert back to where they were, but you will see it only if for no other reason you'll have a completion of the Bernanke test pattern that he has been telling us about since his PhD dissertation. So that's really that's the reality of what you're looking at. And Friday you had Stein specifically make comment on September. So I think that's building the expectation.
You mentioned a rumor. Did you expect Ben Bernanke to resign?
I think he will announce that he's served his term. If we've had indications the last few weeks, Mr. Obama suggesting that he has overstayed his welcome, and again, that to me tells me that as much as an academic professor he may be, he still has pride, and I think he's going to want to put his final fingerprint on this, and that's exactly what I think is what the market will see play out.
So everyone was talking about the markets will pull back again and we will go down maybe to 14,000 points. Do you expect that still, or is this time over and we see just a volatile market?
I think it will be a mistake, but the mistake will happen nonetheless. It will be a buying opportunity as the market continues to price in. What we're seeing now is an adjustment in the marketplace, particularly in the fixed income side. As much as I love to talk about the New York Stock Exchange and the stock market here, the real ugliness, the real volatility has been in the bond market. What the stocks have done has been nothing compared to what the treasuries have done. And as that continues and the interplay of all the asset classes, it will put downward pressure on equities. But that should be the time that long-term investors say, you know what, now I'll be buying it because people are selling it for the wrong reason.
When we have a look to the stock market, do you see any sectors which could be interesting?
I get to the point where I like the ones that have really beaten up. So I would take a very good look at the dividend-paying stocks, which include the real estate investment trust sector, the master limited. I love the master limited partnership because the economy gets better, and therefore the energy sector gets better. The master limited partnerships that supply the pipelines that ship natural gas or oil or tar, whatever it is, are only going to increase their flows. It's just natural progression, and they've been sold off because of the interest rate sensitive group that had invested in them. I think that was a huge mistake, and it'll turn out to be a great buying opportunity.
So this week we will have Independence Day, so the stock market is closed on Thursday. Anything else you are looking and keeping an eye on?
Absolutely. We're also going to get the non-farm payrolls. So you have the ADP numbers, you have all the preliminaries that are going to tease us into the final big number of the day. But the week will be shortened, and so therefore very volatile, in my opinion, because we close early on the 3rd and then we are closed on the 4th. And I believe those combinations just are going to add to the volatility that we have been seeing.
So the unemployment data will again drive the market?
It's the granddaddy of them all, really. If you only had one piece of data to work with, that will be the one that every trader on Wall Street is going to want to see, because that's your best indicator of how the economy is recovering or not.
But what would you like to see, a better or worse number?
I think we will see better numbers because of what we're seeing around the world and what we're seeing in the unemployment insurance numbers that we saw earlier in the previous week. I think the indication is that it is getting better. Now, a lot of that can also be added to our own BLS, which stands for Bureau of Labor Statistics, not some other derogatory term, but the numbers that they're working with, I think, again, even seasonally adjusted, you should probably see a more positive read.
Quick question, Dow Jones lower or higher?
I'm going to go with lower. I don't think this correction's over.
Ben Willis of Albert Fried Company. Thank you so much for your time. Und Ihnen, liebe Zuschauer, danke fürs Zuschauen. Bis bald vom Parkett der New York Stock Exchange.